Hey guys, today I'm going to do a Q&A. I've been asked a lot of questions on Facebook and all the other social media, so I've kind of compiled a list of a few. I'm going to try to go ahead and get on into these because it could take me a while to answer some of these, so let's just go ahead and get started. I'm going to try to do a few more of these. If you like this, please submit questions below or comment on the video, and especially if I get some that are kind of consistently repeated over and over, I'll definitely get to those. I may not get to everything, but here we go. So the first one is, why don't you have a record deal? And I've kind of combined this one with the second part because to me they're kind of related, and yeah, I'd like to know the same thing. I mean, they just have poor taste, I guess. Yeah, I don't know that it's really any one thing. I think it's a combination of a lot of things and probably my own fault in a way. I've played music my entire life, and you know, I'll have to admit I was no Taylor Swift. It took me a while. It took me a while for my voice to mature, for me to really control it like I want to. And I took vocal training right after high school, and unfortunately that kind of, while it was good in a way, I came out of that with, it was kind of a little scary actually. I had to learn how to use the vocal training, when to use it, and to keep my voice natural, because some of the early recordings that I did were very painful to listen to. Yeah, not good. But, you know, my first trip I made to Nashville as a young girl, they were telling me, hey, yeah, you're going to be great in 5 years. Come back in 5 years. Because then Leanne Rimes and a lot of those artists that were very young, that was not common for people to break into the music business as teenagers and young adults. You know, back then you paid your dues. I mean, you got out there and you did what you had to do to become a seasoned artist. And so, you know, I thought I had time. So, you know, I come back. I was playing with bands. I was in a house band for a while. I did country, rock and roll. I was in a gospel group a while. Yeah, I did it all. And I mean, when you're like that, labels just, they don't know what to do with you. Even if I had been in front of someone who could have signed me, they would have been like, well, what are you exactly? So that's part of the reason. And, you know, next thing I know, I'm 28, and a lot had changed in the music business over that time. I mean, at 28, I was an old lady in the industry, really, because they had gone back to those younger artists, and they could take artists whose maybe fabric wasn't as strong, but with the tools and things that were available, you know, they could market people to be anything they wanted them to be, and turn, you know, just basically make an artist out of anyone, and the talent wasn't as critical a piece of that. And you know, I think that's a lot of it. And, you know, do I think back, you know, it's like, oh man, what could I have done if I'd had a record deal? Or, you know, I don't know. I've been independent since I released, well, forever. Anything I've done myself. But, you know, especially when I released Never Looking Behind in 2006, that was my first real attempt at, you know, here's what Reagan Boggs is, after going through all of this process, you know, and listening to those recordings that Bill Phillips did in the audience back in the Hoodoo's days. Listen, oh my gosh, yeah, don't do that anymore. I went through a lot of that. And you know, and then follow that up with Right Now and, you know, Quicksand. All of that's something that I have financed and done myself. And I've had the flexibility to do what I wanted to do on those records, and had creative license with those. And that's good, you know, and I'll just kind of stick with that. Okay, so the second part of that was, why don't you move to Nashville? Why aren't you in Nashville? Because that's what people do when they want to be successful, right? Go to Nashville. Uh, yeah, I've been there, and I record in Nashville. All my records have been recorded at Eastwood Studios with Eric Fritz there in East Nashville, and I just don't see the need to do that. I live in Bristol, Virginia, which, it's not that bad of a drive to get to Nashville when I need to, and yeah, I commute, and yeah, I mean, you could be there doing the songwriters things if somebody needed you on a moment's notice. You could be there, but really, you would be really surprised at how much other styles of music there are in Nashville now, and it's not country music anymore. And as country music passes me by, I find that my style even gets more traditional in what I do than even, yeah. I'm just not new country, and I won't say anything else bad about Nashville in case somebody's watching. Sorry. Okay, so is music your full-time job? Yeah. If I could make money at it, yeah, it would be my full-time job. But unfortunately, I find year after year when it gets tax time like it is right now that it's pretty sad and pretty bloody. The music is a labor of love, and I work full-time as an IT person. I am a database warehouse designer. I do business intelligence, and yeah, it's not very glamorous, but I'm a kind of a geek, and that's what I do to fuel my music habit, and it's been that way since I got out of college back in, I'm not going to tell you when, but I've had a job ever since. And I've been able to do music because of it, and there are limitations to have to be in an office, but yeah, I had vacation time and some pretty understanding people who were in the positions to let me go and be where I needed to be when I needed to be, and that's all good. So moving on, what do you do for a hobby? What do you do when you're not playing music? I have to be really careful with hobbies because I'm pretty hardcore. I am one of these people that if I'm going to do something, I'm going to be damn good at it, or die trying, or spend a lot of money trying. Yeah, when my son was born, I was determined I was going to make his first birthday cake, and because that's kind of a tradition in my family, we don't go out and buy birthday cakes and stuff. We make them ourselves, but about 25 cake pans, and the whole kits with the bags and the tips and the fondant and the gum paste to make the little people. It's like now, yeah, I'm pretty hardcore with the cake decorating, and I'm afraid to play golf. I'm afraid to do too many things because my house is full of crap right now. It's not even funny. I just can't do things just to do them. Alright, any pointers for new artists that are just hitting the market? That kind of goes back to the record deal thing. Yeah, if I knew what to do, I'd probably be a lot better off than what I am now. But I could probably tell you a lot more about what not to do because I've tried a lot of different things that's worked and some things that has not worked so well. But just joking aside, I think music is so much more than just music these days, and people starting out and wanting to make a splash. You've got to know social media. You've got to get out and meet people, build a network, get people behind you that care about what you do and believe in you. Because when it comes to important things, you're going to need those people to be behind you when it counts. Also, when it comes to the music, know as much about music as you can. Play an instrument, don't just sing, write songs. Be able to get up in front of a band and hold your own and be able to lead that band, because you don't want to be the one getting up there when the band kind of goes off and you're like, yeah, that was not supposed to be there. You can kind of drag the song back on track, and if you don't play music and you don't understand that, you're going to look pretty foolish in those circumstances. Also, I mean, the biggest thing, and probably the one that I'm guilty of failing at the most, is staying consistent and staying at it. I watched an interview or listened to an interview with Dolly Parton, and they asked her what was the secret to her longevity, and she just basically put it in a nutshell as, I never go away. And that's important. You have to be persistent. You have to stay in people's minds. You can't just disappear for months at a time or years even. And, I have done that. When I had my son, I decided at that point that I didn't want to travel as much. I didn't want to be away from him, and especially in the beginning. And I stepped back away from it. And you'll find when you do that, you're starting completely over, because there's so much out there to fill that void. When you step away, there are other things, and you have to stay out there and stay at it. And also, one of the last things that I think is pretty important is take the good things and store them close to your heart, because those will be the things that will keep you going through all of the negative things. Know good criticism when you hear it, and don't let the people that are just out there to tear you down affect you in any way, because people are very brave, especially now where social media is concerned, if they think that for some reason that you're doing well, or that you are not necessarily cocky but confident. People just want to just put a little little knife in there to give you something that, and don't let those people bother you. Listen to the people that are in your corner, that are there to build you up and not tear you down. Take your successes. If you pack a 50-seat room, you pack that house, and take that, because there will be those times, and I know, when you almost had that song in the series and they exit right at the last minute, and you even watched it because you thought it was going to be in there. There's a lot of those, so don't get so carried away with the negative that it just really spoils your love for music, because I have been there. There's those moments where you're like, oh my gosh, oh, quit, I can't stand this anymore. But yeah, it's always the good things. It's always the people. Someone sending you a message, saying, what are you doing? Where have you been? We miss you. Get out and do this. Take those. And take your successes and let those keep you going. Anyway, I knew it would be a long video. I knew that I would talk a lot through this, but again, if you have more questions, or you would be interested in me doing more of these question and answer kind of sessions, I would love to, and we'll try to keep them a little shorter next time. Thank you.